Services. PSM News brings you a comprehensive year-end review of the government's key initiatives, highlighting the milestones achieved, the reforms introduced, and the impact felt across the country. This special program looks beyond headlines, offering a clear picture of how policy decisions translated into action and how those actions are shaping the Maldives of tomorrow. As we reflect on the year that was, we also look ahead to the goals yet to be achieved and the collective responsibility of moving forward with confidence, unity, and purpose. First of all, let's look at the political developments for the year 2025. The past year marked a significant shift in the Maldives' political landscape, with the ruling People's National Congress (PNC) becoming the country's largest political party, bypassing Maldivian Democratic Party (MDP) that had enjoyed the largest party status for many consecutive years. According to the Elections Commission of Maldives (ECM), PNC entered the year with 68,665 registered members, far ahead of MDP's 43,765 registered members and other parties. It was over the past year that the Progressive Party of Maldives (PPM) was also dissolved and consolidated under PNC after 5 years of operation in coalition with PNC. Party leaders said separate political activity was unnecessary as both parties shared the same political ideology. In 2025, internal divisions within the MDP that began ahead of the 2023 presidential election showed signs of easing when former President Mohamed Nasheed rejoined the party after leaving in 2023 to form the Democrats. However, although many that joined the Democrats have returned to MDP, factional disputes continued throughout the year, particularly on social media. One of the most notable political incidents of 2025 was when remarks were made at MDP rallies regarding President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu's underage son, which sparked public outrage and legal action. The Human Rights Commission of the Maldives (HRCM) issued a statement asserting that attacks on a child's dignity were not in the spirit of free speech, and the Civil Court affirmed constitutional and international protections for children, allowing the president's family to pursue damages. Meanwhile, parliamentary proceedings commenced in 2025 with a failed no-confidence motion against Minister of Homeland Security and Technology Ali Ihsan. The no-confidence motion could not be pursued due to overwhelming parliamentary support in favor of the minister. The year also saw a historic parliamentary moment, with the parliament's opening session commencing with the recitation of the Holy Quran for the first time. During the session, the president gave a detailed 2-hour address outlining national projects and policies for the upcoming year. Throughout the year, the government continued to take unprecedented action over important issues. One of the most notable actions taken by the government included amending the law to ban entry into the Maldives on Israeli passports, reaffirming its condemnation of Israeli genocide in Gaza, Palestine. The government continued to strongly condemn Israeli actions at international forums. A landmark decision taken by the government in 2025 included a ban on the import, sale, and use of vapes and a generational smoking ban for those born after 1 January 2007. The measures aimed at creating a tobacco-free society, and the necessary legal amendments have been implemented. One of the most important policy changes of the year was the introduction of the death penalty for drug smugglers. The president also ratified the Prevention of Gangs and Other Serious Offences Act, which granted the law enforcement agencies with strengthened powers to combat organized crime. Under efforts to strengthen the decentralization system, major legal amendments were brought to financially empower councils by abolishing atoll councils and redirecting the funds allocated to atoll councils to island councils, with conditions to utilize the funds for assisting vulnerable communities. Furthermore, Women's Development Committee (WDC) members received Ramadan allowances for the first time in 2025 and a 10% increase in budget. WDC presidents were also classified as full-time members instead of part-time members. The scope of commercial activities local authority companies established by local councils can partake in was also defined by law. While the rules on allocating grant aids to councils were also revised, the principles that councils must follow when making major financial decisions during the final year of their term were also determined. Another significant political event was the holding of a referendum on the constitution of Addo City Council, facilitated through a special law. The referendum resulted in a majority vote by residents of some islands to separate from the Addo City Council and forming new administrative arrangements. The president then ratified the necessary legal amendments to give effect to the people's decision. Changes to the judiciary in 2025 included the honorable retirement of the Chief Justice, the first time since the new constitution came into force in 2008. Following Chief Justice Ahmad Muttazim Adnan's retirement, Justice Abdul Ghani Muhammad was appointed as his successor. The Supreme Court bench also underwent changes, with Justices Azmiralda Zahir and Mahaz Ali Zahir dismissed by the Parliament after the Judicial Service Commission (JSC) confirmed misconduct. The JSC also started investigating the cases linked to then Supreme Court Justice Husna Al Saud, with which he resigned from the court. The 3 vacancies in the Supreme Court bench were appointed within last year, with Justice Hussein Shahid, Justice Abdullah Hamid, and Justice Muhammad Salim. The year ended with political parties preparing for the upcoming local council and WDC elections scheduled for April. While both PNC and MDP announced primaries to decide on candidates, PNC has already held its primary. Now, let's have a brief look at the major social and infrastructural developments and progress in diplomacy.
In 2025, housing was a top priority under the government's Housing for All policy, while the Ras Male reclamation and development was undertaken as a major initiative under the policy. Thousands of land plots and flats were allocated from Ras Male and Greater Male area to address housing constraints. Meanwhile, agreements were signed to develop a significant number of housing units, including the development of 3,000 housing units through a Bank of Maldives subsidiary company in Vilimale and Hurumale Phase 1 and 2. Projects supported by international financing was also launched over the past year. Housing projects initiated under the previous administration also progressed completion, with handover works now ongoing. Financial relief measures were introduced, reducing rent and down payments for flats under these projects. With master plans for some areas revised, land allocation and reclamation works have been accelerated such that plots allocated from unreclaimed land are addressed. A nationwide program to build 12,000 housing units across 57 islands was also announced in 2025, with a project enabling individuals to build their homes on their plots with government assistance. One of the largest infrastructure projects inherited by the current government is the development of the Tilamale Bridge, with 29% completed at the time of the current administration took office. The government accelerated the project's progress, reaching 67% completion by the end of 2025. Additionally, feasibility studies and detailed design development were launched for the Addu Hitadu Hulumidu Bridge project. A total of 206 development projects were awarded to local companies across 123 islands, including projects that covered key sectors such as education, health, sports, fisheries, environment, housing and infrastructure, youth and religious affairs. The project was awarded to 53 local companies. In 2025, the aviation sector saw major progress with the opening of Vilana International Airport's new Terminal 1, which has the capacity to cater to 7.5 million passengers annually. By the end of the year, all airlines operating in the Maldives had shifted operations to the new terminal. Several international and domestic airports were completed or upgraded during the year, including the upgrades to Hanimadu International Airport and Mafaru International Airport, and the opening of Muli Airport. Development works commenced to upgrade Kaddu Airport to international standards, including runway and facility improvements. Multiple domestic airports were contracted or in development when the year ended, including airports in Milandu, Komandu, Guradu, Nilandu, Tuladu, and Mativeri. Under government efforts to eliminate dependency on Male City, urban centers were designated across the country, 3 in the north and 4 in the south. The islands identified as urban centers are Ngufaru, Edafushi, Nafaru, Mahibadu, Nilandu, Kudahuadu, and Fonadu. Other major projects of 2025 include the development of Porutakurufanu in Male to modern standards, with the first segment completed and the second underway, the development of general practitioner clinics and opening of government-run optical shops, as well as the relocation of thalassemia center services to Orange Hia in Hurumale are notable developments. The construction of Arabia School was also commenced as a key education project. Additionally, the development of endowment buildings and mosques were carried out under religious sector initiatives.
Now we take a look at our main economic driver, the tourism industry, and what we have achieved in 2025.
The Maldives has recorded its strongest tourism performance on record in 2025, with projected travel receipts expected to exceed $5.4 billion, surpassing the national target of $5 billion. Figures released by the Maldives Monetary Authority (MMA) shows tourism receipts rose by 15.8% compared with 2024, highlighting the sector's resilience despite ongoing global and regional economic pressures. The year also marked a record for visitor arrivals. By the end of 2025, surface arrivals had grown by approximately 10%, accompanied by an increase in bed nights, signaling sustained demand across source markets. Accommodation capacity expanded further with the opening of new resorts and guest houses, broadening the country's tourism offering. The Maldives also reported an unprecedented low season performance, with double-digit month-on-month growth in arrivals, reflecting the success of efforts to diversify market and promote the destination beyond traditional peak periods. Growth from major source markets remained robust, with arrivals from China increasing by 22% and Russia by 20%, reinforcing the significance of the Maldives' tourism recovery and expansion. While rapid capacity growth in recent years has continued to place pressure on occupancy levels, Visit Maldives said it is working closely with industry stakeholders to address the issue through targeted market campaigns and new market strategies, several of which are scheduled for rollout in 2026. Looking ahead, the country is preparing for a new phase of tourism development with large-scale projects, branded residence, and high-profile resort openings planned. Forbes Travel Guide has identified the Maldives as one of the world's most exciting destinations for luxury hospitality launches in 2026. The year also saw the Maldives achieve a landmark in global tourism recognition, winning the World Travel Awards World Leading Destination title for the 6th consecutive year, a new international record. Maldives Resort further received multiple NAST Traveler Awards and Michelin Key distinctions, reinforcing the destination's standing in luxury and experiential travel. As part of its evolving strategy, Visit Maldives increased its focus on high-yield tourism, luxury experiences, and niche segments. For the first time, the Tourism Board launched dedicated campaigns targeting the super yacht market and collaborated with more than 40 international tour operators and airlines to stimulate premium travel demand. Digital engagement also reached record levels in 2025, with Visit Maldives reporting its strongest social media performance to date, reflecting the growing global appeal of the Maldives brand. With a strategy for 2026 centered on revenue growth, luxury positioning, and sustainable value creation, the Maldives appears set to consolidate its position as one of the world's most resilient and desirable tourism destinations.
As the new year begins, the government has introduced and revised several services geared towards businesses and the economic sector.
President Dr. Mohammad Muiz has announced that targeted efforts to support and promote small and medium enterprises (SMEs) will come into effect from 1st of January. The key measures to be implemented are derived from concerns raised by SME representatives on 17th December last year at a meeting with the President. These initiatives include increasing the demurrage-free period for imported goods from 80 hours to 124 hours, extending customs clearance services to 24 hours, addressing custom pricing as well as addressing the irregular use of vehicle imported under duty exemptions for projects. Measures approved for phase implementation include amendments to give priority to SMEs in government tenders, to reduce waste disposal fees for SMEs by the Waste Management Corporation (WEMCO) from February onwards, and affordable storage solutions for SMEs in 3 regions across the country. Over the next 2 years, the government will take special effort to implement SME-focused measures aiming to create a favorable environment for those businesses to flourish in.
2025 was marked with increased investment and development for the Maldives' sports sector. We take a look at some of the key highlights.
The past year has been a remarkably successful period for the Maldives sporting landscape, marked by an unprecedented pace in infrastructure development and the establishment of essential sporting facilities across the nation. Having formulated a long-term strategic roadmap for sports and the guidance of international experts, the year 2025 concluded with a firm commitment to this vision, paving the way for a promising future. In a concerted effort to promote physical well-being, the government initiated the development of a record number of fitness and recreation centers. This wide-scale initiative included the construction of football grounds, sports courts, athletic tracks, outdoor gyms, and multipurpose sports complexes throughout various islands. Furthermore, physical work has commenced on world-class sporting arenas, including major projects such as an Olympic-sized swimming pool, an international standard tennis complex, and dedicated arenas for skating and surfing. On the international stage, the Maldives successfully hosted several prestigious events over the past year, including the Kerem World Cup, the Kawa Volleyball Championship, and the ITF and ATF tennis tournaments. The professional execution of international badminton and basketball competitions further solidified the Maldives' reputation and earned global trust as a capable host for elite sporting events. Despite the Football Association being mired in corruption and administrative turmoil, efforts were made to revitalize the sport. Even under challenging circumstances, football was revived and the National League was successfully recommenced. Furthermore, women's football, which had been largely neglected, was reintroduced. Ending a drought in international silverware since 2018, the national team secured a significant victory by defeating Sri Lanka to clinch the South Asian Super Cup title. Additionally, the Badminton Association, which had been facing suspension by the global governing body, was successfully reinstated. This restoration paved the way for the badminton community to represent the Maldives on the international stage once again. In the past year, Maldivian athletes achieved remarkable success at the World Bodybuilding Championship, securing a gold medal alongside several silver and bronze medals across various categories. Maldivian athletes also emerged victorious in the ITF G30 tennis tournament and the ATF tournament, securing championship titles. In a historic milestone, the Maldivian women's Kerem team reached unprecedented heights at the Kerem World Cup, competing in the final and securing the runner-up position. Furthermore, both the men's and women's national tennis teams achieved top positions in their respective groups at the Tennis World Cup.
In broader developments, these are some of the notable progresses the government has made.
For Maldives, 2025 has been a landmark marked by transformative developments across governance, economy, health, tourism, and international relations. The year began with the full implementation of the Maldives-China Free Trade Agreement, the nation's first, boosting bilateral trade with duty-free access to key markets. President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu launched an unprecedented series of nationwide island visits, engaging local councils, launching development projects, and inaugurating the Bank of Maldives BML ATM project to ensure banking access in all islands. In a significant move toward financial inclusivity, the government raised the travel debit card limit for Umrah pilgrims to $1,750. The national carrier Maldivian welcomed its first wide-body A330 aircraft, enhancing air connectivity. A major police infrastructure expansion was initiated, with new stations set for 75 islands, while a historic generational tobacco ban was announced, prohibiting tobacco sales to anyone born after 2007. On 9th May, the government launched Maldives 2.0, an ambitious digital transformation initiative aimed at modernizing public services and curbing corruption. Key infrastructure milestones included the opening of the new international terminal at Valana International Airport VIA, capable of handling 7 million tourists annually, and the redeveloped Honeymalu International Airport set to boost northern tourism. The year also saw the launch of the Makkah Route Initiative, streamlining Hajj and Umrah travel, and the introduction of the Hia Wahi Finance for Housing scheme, offering 25-year, 5% Islamic Sharia-compliant loans.
As we conclude this year-end review, one message stands clear. The initiatives undertaken over the past year reflect a focused effort to strengthen the foundation of the nation, improve the quality of life for citizens, and prepare the Maldives for the opportunities and challenges ahead. Behind every policy and program lies a broader vision, a Maldives that is resilient, inclusive, and forward-looking, where development reaches every island, where opportunities are expanded for youth and families, and where progress is built on sustainability and good governance. While milestones have been achieved, the work continues. The year ahead will demand continued commitment, accountability, and collaboration between government institutions, communities, and citizens to ensure that progress is sustained and shared. As the nation turns the page to a new year, these initiatives serve not only as an endpoint but as a foundation, guiding the next phase of national development and reform. Thank you for joining us for PSM News' Year-End Review.